So, like, they're from Japan? Like, are you sure? Yeah, I bought it in Japan. They're Japanese. Oh, God. I told you to keep the references, like, yeah, I don't get it. You sure that's a Keenism? Because I don't think it is, honestly. Hey, everybody, this is Quasar with my grandson. Again, I'm not that old. Trust me, I'm not that old. Yeah, Cable here. We're doing an next review with the finale of our two-parter, which was the Dial of Destiny for Indiana Jones. Okay, seriously, you're just mixing up words. That's so weird. Is that an algorithm thing? Are you really on Gen Alpha? I'm not having this today. Anyway, yeah, it's Indiana Jones, the Dial of Destiny, Retro Go. Alright, hang on a sec. So, we're gonna do this? Yeah. Oh, that's old you armor? That's, I mean, that makes sense for your namesake. Oh, that's actually pretty clever. Thanks. Alright, ready? 1, 2, Deaction! Yeah, the kid takes a while. Oh, I do not. Oh, come on, it's a magical door D-transformation. Why are you doing that? Oh, come on. Anyway, yeah, comic here. It's the prelude to the upcoming Headlog Gala. By the way, you got your gear ready for the gala? Yeah, I got my gear ready. Anyway, so where do we want to start with Dial of Destiny? It's good. Yeah, actually, I'll agree with that. He's stabilizing, by the way. Oh, thanks, Quasar. Anyway, yeah. As somebody who's probably never been on Earth for the last several years, Retro had a very fuming heat with some... Oh, that sounds gross and weird. Okay, long story short, is it gonna be Phantom Menace? No, it's not. Long story short, for anybody who's here for, I don't know, yanking on, Phoebe Waller-Bridge for existing, I don't know, that's so dumb, it's so weird, and, I don't know, I thought Solo was cool. The Han Solo standalone movie, yeah. And you know what, I get it, you guys don't like, Shi'ar tech being used as a AI CG generated stuff. Okay, I told them they weren't ready for that revelation, and yet you do it. I'm sorry, what? Look, I'll quarterback this review. Long story short, the guy that played his Han Solo, would have worked, for the cold opening. We're just gonna be sporadic with spoilers. It's been 2 weeks, and yeah, I'm not gonna mix my words here, kids. This thing ain't gonna make any money, right? I will say, the toys are actually pretty cool. I mean, yeah, say what you will about, most of this movie. It's better than Crystal Skull. Go to our retrospective review if you want to be like that. And another thing I think that both of us forgot to mention is that, a lot of what, this movie is missing is some, like, big bridge in between. Like, I don't know, the 90s. Like, something about it just feels like this should have been one more movie in the 90s just to, like, be post-Harrison after, like, I don't know, The Fugitive, because when you get the digital de-aged, him in the cold opening, you could kind of see the hairline is a lot like what he was in The Fugitive. Also, as a sidebar, I'm not playing any of these figures right now, one of my earliest, movies I remembered watching for school was The Fugitive from my middle school law class. Long story short, if I ever do a retro review, check it out. Really worth it. I'm so on, I don't know, U.S. Marshals, because they were trying to catch off of, that as a sequel, and it was the same year as, Men in Black, so if I was Tommy Lee Jones, he had a really good 1997. Long story short there. Anyway, back in characters. So, yeah, I don't know, it's just... It's good when you see the still. It's a little blocky. It's a little like particle effectsy when you get to most of like the sequences there. Getting almost hung by Nazis as time goes on. The train sequence is probably the best use of it because it is shadowy. It's very the last years of World War II, and then culminating to a smash cut of him going into the 60s is actually pretty good. I mean, the only set piece that looks the most CG heavy is going to be New York, which, speaking as a New Yorker, that kind of makes some sense. There's, like, certain locations that are going to be weird to see nowadays, given the history of my home state. But, shoutouts to the most universal concept when you are doing New York. Always be doing Conhead. Somehow, some way, it will always all be Conhead's fault. If you're a New Yorker, you know. That being said, yeah, it was a really good sequence. You get a good, like, snapshot of where he is since, King of the Crystal Skull, and this is probably going to be the most minor, but yet somewhat heavy spoiler if you've seen my, retrospective review last week. In 3, 2... Yeah, they kind of explained away, Shia LaBeouf's Williams as, basically getting taken down in Vietnam. That's paraphrasing, so just so you know. They explain about it a little bit better, and yeah, Indy is going through a divorce, timeline wise, for him and Marion, so you could kind of see where it's going on there. I wish I had time for all the screen sheets and all that stuff, but I don't got time. So, yeah, for the subsidiary cast, Boyd Holbrook over here looks amazing. Like, he was born to basically be a jobber kind of villain, and honestly, I'm amazed he isn't doing more leading action kind of stuff, because I haven't seen him in Narcos in a long time, but he did pretty good for what he had with the material. Mads Mikkelsen over here for the villain of the movie, he basically brought his most Mads Mikkelsen, like, performance. Like, he was not sleeping on this one, but you could definitely tell. For the flashback stuff for the Nazis, like I said, it's actually pretty interesting. Again, it's mostly not too CDG heavy, only on, Harrison is the only one. Another thing I think I've noticed, I think Kind of Funny just did their Dial of Destiny review last week mentioning, is that, yeah, it's very young, it's very exactly what he looked like right straight out of, like, Last Crusade territory, but the problem was the voicing, because for some reason they wanted, current-day Harrison to sound like, current-day Harrison inside the CG body, so that's kind of where it gets a little ghoulish and a little, like, hodgepodgey when it comes to making it, because honestly, it is, it's still Lucasfilm. It's still working in conjunction with, like, Paramount. They're still in association with this, by the way. Other than that, as most of the action sequences go, James Mangold does know what he's doing. You can definitely tell he's a fan of the franchise and knows, like, what kind of high-octane kind of stunts you want to do, especially when he goes to outside of New York, like Morocco and Egypt for Cairo. Yeah, you can definitely tell he has a critical eye on those kinds of stunt pieces. I feel like New York was, like, the only one where he had to, like, do it for the producers kind of, like, scenario. As for Phoebe Waller-Bridge's Helena Shaw, she's actually pretty good. Again, knowing those assholes online, if you know, you know, are gonna be like, oh, she's gonna take over the franchise. Like, no, she's not. Like, if that was the case, Mel Whaley would have took over this franchise easily 20 years ago in Shia's case. So, yeah, for Antonio Banderas and, I forgot the kid actor who played, Shaw's, I guess, short round, I guess, essentially. They did pretty good, too. The kid in the back there had a really good story arc of, like, not swimming, then magically figuring how to swim in the last act. For the set piece itself, the Dial of Destiny of Question, your thoughts, Corsair? I mean, it's not aliens, that's the good news. Speaking as a guy who lives with aliens and has to, you know, be on the run from TR space almost a third of my life. It's not aliens, it's math, and they definitely tell you it's math. They tell you that math does a lot of things, and not the right math, but Archimedes was a weird dude, but I can see the math, if anything else. I swear to God, if we save ratio in the next 20 minutes of this review. Oh, we are so not, by the way. Yeah, old me here, I guess splicing in for pretty much actual Harrison when you see him in the actual 60s. Not bad. I mean, despite what young me said about the New York sequences, it is kind of funny seeing him running around with a, you know, horseback, you know, going into MTA traffic, you know, even if the 60s during Apollo 11 astronauts coming back. This was set in 69, by the way. And, yeah, I wish there was more time seeing what the United States feels like with him in the 60s, but it's pretty played out. Even by now, you can tell, like, oh, he's gonna have his 2 cents on, like, the space race. You're gonna have his 2 cents on how his style of, like, his history teaching is getting outrun by, like, space race stuff at the time, and obviously, you know, civil rights with, everything was going on there as well, leading into the 70s, as far as the rest of civil rights goes. That all being said, like, that it was a big flashpoint of, like, him kind of not understanding that point of a future that will continue to be, well, insane as time goes on, history and current day wise. That's the old you. Like, he's got some experience explaining this kind of stuff. Okay, yeah, final ratings, everybody. Long story short, it's gonna be on the 10 system, not the 5. And, yeah, for Indy himself and for this last journey, if this is the last one, but, I mean, honestly, with the box office now, I might tell otherwise, so who knows, if it really is or not. Marketing-wise, I'll tell you definitely, and figures-wise, I'm actually planning to get one and do a case, for it, because my dad was a friend of this franchise, and I've been kind of saying this ever since he passed away. I've been trying to find an opportunity to, like, do something to, you know, honor him, and honestly, this is gonna be it, so thank you, Dad, and, yeah, for my late father's rating, yeah, I would totally see him seeing this. I totally also see him defending this, because there's a lot of weird movies in 2018 on. He was so-so, but trying to defend, so, I don't know, the day I ever talk about that, it's gonna be weird. And I held that in for 1,000 years. Well, some of us had to grow. Okay, Okay, here's another thing I didn't notice about you guys before we get to final ratings. You guys dehensioned, and you guys... I said the term, right? Yeah. And one of you grew like an inch taller. Is that like a figure thing? It's a figure thing. Okay, it's a figure form thing. Alright, so my rating, coaxium out of coloris. Again, we can't do Shior. We gotta do a number by Earth terms. 7 out of 10. Look, it's not the best in the franchise, obviously, but it's better than Crystal Skull, and that's saying a lot, if anything. If that's your barometer for the whole thing, go ahead, kids. It's actually not that bad. I wish I had time to talk about metrics in 1,000 or more years than you. Oh, okay, we get it. You were in the year 10,000, and you fought Broncos more than us. You made out with them. Wait, what? Okay, 7 out of 10 across the board on both rounds. 7.5. I honestly fought for more, and I really hope Fibula Birch does more work for Disney, and more importantly, a certain Star Wars franchise, if she ever wants to come back to it again. And the thing is, I think we mentioned all review along with the DH stuff. It's only going to be for the first half of the act, so that's actually not as incredibly insane as it sounds. However, if you remember Last Crusade, it would have been cool if they had like a River Phoenix kind of situation, and I guess redemption story for Eldon Elrich over here, who played Solo and Solo Star Wars story. So I don't know, it would be kind of cool if they did that. And I don't know, if he had a better relationship with Mangold, that would have been interesting. That being said, yeah, I'll go with everybody 7 out of 10. So Cable, same. 7.4 out of 10. Okay, now we're just playing with the decimal system. I'm sorry, Archimedes was a mathematician. A theme they've been saying all along. I'm going to wrap up here on all Archimedes stuff. It basically debunks, like, hey, we're not going to use magic again. Hey, we're not going to use aliens again or any ancient tech. We're just going to, like, stick it to some realm of, like, actual historical evidence and just go from there. And it did kind of work out in the end. Also, I will agree with everybody. Mads Mikkelsen is actually a decent villain. No Sinister, but he's a decent villain. Okay, he could totally play Mr. Sinister if he wanted to. Okay, like hell he's going to. Alright, anyway, end cards, by the way, coming up. Final thoughts, honestly, before we get to end cards. Look, long story short, this is a long franchise, and I still kind of agree with everybody here, for everybody who did their reviews last week. Yeah, it would be, I don't know, it's like pretty much a what-if scenario. What would have happened if, like, there was another movie in the 90s, but we kind of had that with Crystal Skull. But, yeah, honestly, Crystal Skull sounds like a 6th entry, not a, 4th entry, when you saw that movie as it is. That all being said, take care, subscribe, and yeah, end cards coming up to ourselves here to our upcoming shorts. Yes, we're probably planning to do a Critical Role short pretty soon, so we'll get to that as we get to that. And coming hopefully in the future or the past, given the Dial of Destiny in question, go to the summers over here. Yes, to see probably Retro's My Adventures with Superman early review for the premiere episodes. And yeah, go to our comic, I guess, to sub to the channel. And yes, Retro will be doing a video on the Hellfire Gala. You did promise Miss Frost that, right? Yes, I promised, Emma. And am I really bait? Seriously, am I? No, you're not. Anyway, that all being said, we are the Retro Riders. And, well, one Retrokid reviews. Yeah, hi over here. Doing our review. And that being said, he's really not bait for the gala, right? No, kinda. Wait, what do you mean kinda?